You did everything right. You were driving carefully through Albuquerque. You were paying attention, and then someone else made a mistake. You were injured in a car accident. You sought medical treatment. You notified insurance, and you cooperated. And then you hear something terrible that changes everything. The other driver only has $25,000 in coverage. And that's when you start to freak out. That's when the anxiety sets in. Hi, my name is Attorney Anthony Spratly here in New Mexico. I'm the founder of Fusion Legal Group here in Albuquerque. I am a military veteran and former JAG prosecutor, and I represent injured families throughout New Mexico. Now, I approach serious injury cases with structure and discipline, especially when insurance companies want to fight you and tell you that insurance companies' coverage is limited. So here in New Mexico, we require a minimum auto liability coverage of $25,000 per person and $50,000 per accident. That means if the at-fault driver only carries the minimum, the insurer may not pay more than $25,000 for your injuries, regardless how severe those injuries are. So let's walk through a realistic example. Emergency room visit, $4,500. MRI, $3,000, $3,500. Yeah. Then 12 weeks of physical therapy, $14,000, a lot of money, right? Pain management injections, $12,000, lost wages, $9,000. You're already over $42,000 plus. I don't do math well. And economic damages. So if your surgery becomes necessary and total damages could exceed $75,000 or even $150,000 depending on procedure and recovery, yet the at-fault driver's insurance company may stop at $25,000. So that gap creates real stress for families. Now, New Mexico also has a relatively high uninsured driver rate compared to many other states. If the at-fault driver has no insurance at all, your uninsured motorist coverage may apply if you have it. If the at-fault driver has insurance but not enough to cover your damages, your underinsured motorist coverage may apply. Many drivers do not fully understand what their own policy covers. In serious cases, your own insurance policy may become the primary source of meaningful recovery. So you paid for that coverage, it exists to protect you. And when the at-fault driver's policy is insufficient, this process typically looks like this. First, the at-fault driver's insurer pays his own policy limits. Then you notify your own insurance carrier of an uninsured or underinsured motorist claim. Medical documentation and evidence of damages are then submitted. The negotiations occur, and this can feel uncomfortable. It may feel like you are fighting your own insurance company, but what you're doing is you are asserting your rights under a contract you paid for. These claims can become more technical than standard liability cases. And if you have learned that the at-fault driver's insurance is not enough to cover your injuries, you need to call us at Fusion Legal Group at 505-300-0777 before you sign anything. Early coverage review can protect your future. New Mexico's pure comparative negligence system still applies in uninsured and underinsured motorist cases. So if your total damages exceed $120,000 and you are found 25% at fault, your recovery may drop to $90,000. Insurance companies may attempt to increase your fault percentage to reduce payout. Now, statements made early can affect that analysis. Insurance tactics in limited coverage cases often include questioning whether treatment was necessary, arguing with them that injuries were pre-existing, challenging future medical needs, and offering settlements before full treatment is complete, and delaying evaluation in hopes that financial pressure encourages a quick resolution with them. So we frequently see families accept the initial $25,000 policy limit without realizing additional coverage was available through their own policy. Now, understanding how much your New Mexico car accident claim is worth when coverage is limited requires analyzing multiple factors. So medical expenses, lost wages, pain and suffering. Comparative negligence is something that you need to understand. So for example, a $30,000 in documented treatment may justify a settlement range of $60,000 to $100,000 depending on impact and liability. A surgical case may justify $150,000 or more, subject to available coverage. And in some cases, policy stacking may increase available limits depending on the number of vehicles insured under the policy. So reviewing declaration pages and endorsements carefully matter. So there's also a timing component. In New Mexico personal injury cases, you have 3 years from the date of the crash to file a lawsuit. Uninsured and underinsured motorist claims may also involve policy notice requirements. So if you wait too long to evaluate options, they can weaken leverage and reduce recovery potential. So not every limited coverage case requires legal representation, all right? And if injuries are minor, medical bills are low, the insurance offer clearly covers documented losses, and no fault disputes exist, you may not need a lawyer. So when injuries are significant, coverage is layered or confusing, fault is disputed, or the settlement offer feels insufficient compared to your lived experience, consulting an experienced Albuquerque Car Accident lawyer can present irreversible mistakes. At Fusion Legal Group, we handle most personal injury claims on a contingency fee basis. So what that means for you is there are no upfront legal fees. There is no hourly billing. We are paid only if compensation is recovered. That allows injured families to pursue representation without additional pressure during recovery. Now, local representation matters in coverage disputes. I live here, my firm's here, my family's here. I understand regional insurance practices. I understand how insurance and underinsured motorist claims are evaluated in New Mexico. My military background taught me preparation, clarity, and disciplined analysis under pressure. Those principles guide every coverage dispute we handle. So, learning that the at-fault driver has only $25,000 in coverage can feel overwhelming at first, but it does not automatically mean that you are all, that you can recover. So you do not have to decide immediately whether to hire a lawyer, but you should understand your rights before accepting any settlement. If you are injured in Albuquerque and you are unsure about your options, what they are, when insurance coverage is limited, call us at Fusion Legal Group at 505-300-0777. We will review your case, explain your coverage clearly, and help you decide whether hiring an Albuquerque car accident lawyer is the right decision for your situation. So no hype, no pressure, no discipline, honest guidance rooted in experience and service.